Great number of people in the audience this morning. We're usually not this lucky to have this many people, all these friendly faces. I welcome everyone here in the audience and those online to the Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023, Weber County Board of Commissioners. I'm Commissioner Gage Frohr. I'll be conducting with me this morning is Commissioner Jim Harvey to my right, Commissioner Sharon Bolos to my left. We're going to start this morning with the Pledge of Allegiance given by Christy Bingham. Our invocation will be given by Commissioner Harvey, and then I'll be given the thought of the day. We'll go to that point. Thank you.
Recording in progress.
Our Heavenly Father, as we come before Thee at the beginning of this commission meeting, we're grateful, Father in heaven, for this opportunity we have to serve the people of Weber County. We're grateful so much, Heavenly Father, for the employees who sacrifice much and give so much. At this time, Father, we ask Thee to bless their families as they labor away from, as our employees labor away from them, that they'll be sustained and watched over. We pray that the decisions made today will carry with it a spirit of reverence and respect, and that we'll be able to make them in the right, good way. And we say these things in the Savior's name, even Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Commissioners, I don't have any prepared comments for thought of the day, so I thought what I would do would just go over what pops into my head, which is we all have been aware of the tragedies happen in Maui, Hawaii, and some personal things that have taken place in my life over the last couple of days just brought to thought something I heard a number of years ago, which is, you know, you only have two big things in your life. The rest are all small things. The first one is you're born. That's a big deal. And when you die, that's the other big deal. Everything in between is not quite that important. Yet we tend to focus on a lot of the things that aren't that important, like our friends, our family, and communicating to them how much we love them, how much we appreciate them, because we're tied up in those little things. So my thought for the day, Commissioners, was let's make sure that we look at the big factors. Don't be concerned with some of these little things that will go one way or the other, whether we lose a lot of sleep over it or not. But make sure that those friends, families, the people we work with know how much we appreciate them, how much we love them, because there may come a time when we may miss that opportunity, and I don't think anybody wants to miss that opportunity to express their thoughts of love. Anyway, that's my thoughts, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Let's go to our public comment section, if we might, Commissioners. Anyone in the audience in the chamber today that would like to come forward and take up to 3 minutes, now is your opportunity to do so. I can't believe we have this many people and nobody's rushing to the mic, Commissioners. I'm looking at our favorite treasurer, John Bond. That doesn't look like he's going to step forward. So anyone online that would like to make a comment? Christy? No. Okay. All right. We're going to move ahead then with no one willing to come forward. We'll take that over. Let's go to our presentation, which is a very important presentation we have this morning, and it's a great opportunity for us to recognize some people that are very well deserved of recognition, which is a presentation of the 2023 Weber County Women in Business Awards. And we're going to give recognition to Janie Avery for Learning is Power Award, Christy Clark for Rising Star Award, Shirley Robinson for Service Star Award, and Jackie Cole for Above and Beyond Award. Great awards, and Commissioner Bolos will be making those presentations. Commissioner Bolos, the time's yours.
Thank you so much. So July was Women in Business, National Women in Business Month. I thought it would be a great opportunity for us to recognize women in Weber County who do an amazing job every day when they come to work. And we came up with 5 different categories. We're going to present 4 of those today. And I just want to let everyone know how fun it was to read the nominations. And we all were able to read all of the nominations, and unfortunately we can't give the award to everyone, but wow, it was just really fun to read from coworkers how they felt about each other, and to read those nominations. So I'm really happy today to be able to present with you these awards to these women. What we'll do is I want to read the nominations so that you can hear what was written about these women when they were nominated, and then we'll take some separate photos with them, and then we'll do a group photo if that's okay.
Yeah, that's great. Let's do it.
So we'll start with the Learning is Power Award, which is being awarded to Janie Avery. Janie is Weber County's first dedicated county records officer. This is a brand new position, which means there was minimal in-house training available and a lot of information to learn in a short time. Janie dove right in and achieved certification in both areas offered by the state archives. They usually recommend alternating years between the two. She's also engaged with records officers in other counties to learn their best practices and adopt anything that will help Weber County improve. She has also delved into state and county code to truly understand the core legal foundation for her role and responsibilities. All of this demonstrates what an avid learner she is, and it has already paid huge dividends for Weber County. So if Janie would please stand, and we'll give her a round of applause. Congratulations. Okay, our second one is the Rising Star Award. This is being awarded to Christy Clark. Christy was recently promoted to the lead support person in our corrections visitation group. This group interacts with inmates, their families, their attorneys, and keeps the financial records for inmates while in custody. This is a challenging job, and she has stepped in and didn't miss a beat. She is detail-oriented, hardworking, and is making great improvements in a very short time. Christy Clark. Thank you, Christy. Okay, the Service Star Award is being given to Shirley Robinson in the Treasurer's Office. Shirley is a friend to all who enter the Treasurer's Office. She listens patiently and responds with kindness and understanding, always, even when the conversations are hard and the customers are unhappy or discouraged. She has regular customers, taxpayers, who come in the office just to see her. She brightens the day for all who interact with her. Shirley. And then last but not least, Above and Beyond Award goes to Jackie Cole. Jackie has completed the new condo townhome permits in the last few years with numbers reaching over 1,000. She works with efficiency and has outstanding quality. She is driven and hardworking. She completes her tasks with a smile and is always willing to help where she can, even though her workload is one of the highest. Let's see, she has multiple tasks and always completes them on time. She is the positive in the office that is always trying to find activities in the office to promote team building and good atmosphere. She is very deserving of this award. Jackie Cole. Commissioners, do you have anything to add before we take some photos?
Commissioner Harvey.
That's congratulations. You earned this because of how great you are. We appreciate you. Thank you.
And I'd also say congratulations to these 4 great employees of Weber County. And going through those applications, this could have gone to a number of people. Very hard to narrow it down, but these ladies are very much deserving of this award. And it just goes to show that this is just an example of what we have here in Weber County and what makes Weber County government run the way it does. It's these ladies, along with every other employee we have with Weber County, that takes their job of service to the public to heart. So I just say congratulations again.
Thank you. Okay.
So what we'd like to do is have each of the ladies come forward in that order and then do individual pictures and presentations. Commissioner Bowles will hand out the hardware up here, and then we'd like to do a group picture with all four. So let's do that. And I think Stephanie will take the picture. Okay. Okay, let's get all four. All four. Okay,
All right. Squeeze out. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. And then just the ladies. With your, there we go. With your 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3.
we invite you to stay. Well, we lost a good share of our audience, but that was the main attraction, so we can't blame them. So thank you, Commissioner Bolos. Well done. It's one of the funnest parts about this job is recognizing the great people that work in this county.
For sure, yep.
So, Commissioner Harvey, anything before we start moving ahead?
No, I've had my say. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, with that then, let's go to our agenda item G, consent items. We're going to start with request for approval of warrants, 8724 through 8763, and 478 546 through 478 700, and number 284 in the amount of $3,754,322.20. 2, request for approval of purchase orders in the amount of $89,952.17. And 3, summary of warrants and purchase orders, and we'll go to Mr. Ricky Hatch for that summary. Mr. Hatch.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We issued 7 purchase orders this week for $90,000. 2/3 of that amount, or $57,000, was for the paramedic fund to purchase a paramedic unit. 11%, or $10,000, was for the roads for equipment repairs and parts. For checks, we issued 196 warrants this week for $3.8 million. Just under a quarter of that amount, $854,000, were ramp awards to Washington Terrace and Ogden City and Ogden School District and Fort Buenaventura. 22%, or $830,000, is for the sheriff for body cam video service. 17%, or $654,000, is for the transfer station, and that was almost exclusively disposal costs. 13%, or $491,000, was related to escrow releases, almost exclusively relating to Taylor Landing. And then 7%, or $255,000, is road construction paid for with transportation tax dollars for work done on 3300 South and 12th Street.
Great. Does that conclude your presentation?
Yes, sir.
Commissioners, questions, comments?
None.
Okay, thank you, Ricky. Appreciate that. All right, let's go to our next consent item, G4, request for approval of minutes for the meeting held on August 8th and 15th, 2023. 5, request for approval of new business licenses. 6, request for approval of an interlocal agreement by and between Weber County and Far West City for code enforcement services. 7, request for approval of a contract by and between Weber County and Ogden Invitational Hockey League for an NHL Dasher board donation. 8, request for approval of an amendment to subrecipient agreement by and between Weber County and Youth Impact for American Rescue Plan Act. That would be the funds through ARPA. I think that concludes, at least by my agenda, the consent items. Commissioners, unless there's additional consent items, I'd look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve consent items G 1 through 8.
Second?
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Let's go to action items. Request for approval of final reading of ordinance 2023-27 of the County Commission of Weber County amending certain fees to the Weber County Parks and Recreation Department facility. This is a final reading. Mr. Todd Ferrario, welcome.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
How are you?
Great.
Good. Obviously, a second reading. I think Commissioner Frower, you're the one that wasn't here.
Right.
This was a miss, and somewhere between version 74 and 75 of us trying to redo our fees, it got dropped. It's some winter fees for the yurts up at North Fork Park. So we're asking those to be corrected to the new fee amounts.
Okay. Questions, Commissioner?
None from me. He's done a good job, and I want you to know that these are proper and good.
Yeah, I know that we talked about that, the fee structure, and obviously we need to look at that to make sure it's in line with our current level of service. So with that, I'd entertain a motion. Commissioner Harvey, this is in your portfolio,
Make a motion that we approve as presented by Mr. Ferrario this morning.
which would be resolution,
Well, I thank you
Or
very
ordinance,
much.
yeah.
Yeah, and so it would be 2023, it's ordinance 2023-27.
thank you.
Second?
Now we have a second. That's a roll call vote. Craig?
Roll call vote for ordinance 2023-27. Commissioner Bolos?
Aye.
Commissioner Harvey?
Aye.
Chair Ford?
Aye, motion carries. Thanks, Todd.
Thank you.
Thanks for your presentation. Let's now go to action item H2, request for approval of a contract by and between Weber County and Marie Osmond for entertainment services for the 100th anniversary of the Period Egyptian Theater. Well, here's Mary. Oh, that's not Marie. I thought she made a special trip up, but I guess not. Okay,
No, she
Cassie.
didn't. You'll just have to, do
All
with
right.
me. Good morning.
Good morning.
So this is just a contract with Marie Osmond. She will also maybe bringing her nephew, David Osmond, to perform with her also, but that isn't confirmed. But it's for January 26th of next year. It will be the kickoff to our 100-year anniversary celebrations that we will have throughout the entire year of 2024.
That's great. Commissioner Harvey, this is in your portfolio.
Done a wonderful job getting ready for this 100 years, and especially amidst a fantastic season of Ogden Musical Theater. This will just add the warmth of everything else coming and let people recognize this milestone for the theater. So
Yeah, thank you for that.
and appreciate what you do, Cassie.
We have a lot of fun things planned. There will be, like I said, this will be the concert, so it will be a gala ahead of time, a dinner, and then we will go from the dinner into the theater and have the concert there, and that'll be the kickoff on January 26th. And then we have several other activities, like a black and white film series. We have an organ silent film that we'll be playing with the organ that's coming in, and some different things. That way we have an exhibit that we're going to put up that takes us through the decade, through each decade, and that will be set up in the gallery and joined with the art stroll. That'll be through the summer months and things, and then we've added a black and white play in October, Dracula, because that came out at the same time, about 100 years ago, and we'll be doing that with Ogden Musical Theater as well. So we're adding an additional show for Ogden Musical Theater, so we'll have 4 performances in 2024 instead of just the 3 shows. So a lot going on, and then we're getting some of the community involvement as well. So asking some of the people that come to the theater and perform on a regular basis, they will be using that 100-year anniversary logo, and then they will be doing some of their performances based on that Egyptian theme as well. So we're working with them and collaborating on that happening throughout the year as well. So
I think that, if I can comment there, Commissioners, I think former Commissioner Jenkins went to high school with Lon Chaney, who was the Dracula in that black and white. Mm-hmm. There will only be 2 or 3 people who get that joke. And Scott won't be one of them.
I have to remind you now. That's appropriate.
Sorry.
no, you're fine.
It was off color.
That was
I only had 2 to pick from, black and white. That's all.
All right, anything else, Commissioner Harvey?
No.
Commissioner Bullis, anything?
No.
All right, I think that Marie is a great one to be a part of that. As most people in this audience know, the Osmonds were from Weber County, spent a great deal of time. I actually
Absolutely.
had the opportunity to work with that family before they moved south to a county that I won't name. But, we're very proud to recognize them as Weber County natives, and it's appropriate that she's here. I don't know if she'll remember when she was in Weber County, but if not, we'll remind her.
Yeah, she does. She actually does. She
Does she?
remembers her 2nd grade class and stuff, and we've actually talked about that. So she does remember that her
Good.
roots are here.
That's good. Okay. With that, Commissioners, I'd entertain a motion. Commissioner Harvey, this is in your portfolio.
Motion to approve this contract is presented by Ms. Bybee this morning.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. It's approved. Thanks,
Thank you.
Cassie. Let's now go to our action item H3, request for approval of a contract with Wheeler Cat for maintenance services on the transfer station equipment. Sean Wilkinson, but he's not here, so we have our director out there, our assistant director. Go ahead.
I'm Ron Brown.
Ron, appreciate you being
I
here.
need to renew the contract with Wheelers on the 315 and the 950 on their service.
Okay,
They do service every 250 hours, so 250, 500, 750, and 1,000. And then every 2,000 they drop the hydraulics. They do the samples on it to make sure everything's still working inside and nothing's failing.
great. Well, we appreciate your service out there, Ron. I understand you've been with us for about 20 years.
24.
20, wow, okay. We appreciate that. And yeah, I just can't emphasize enough how much, we try to get the most we can out of our equipment, and that equipment requires maintenance.
Yes.
And without proper maintenance, we end up purchasing equipment sooner than we need to. So appreciate you staying on top of that
Alrighty.
for the county. Commissioners, questions or comments?
I'd like to make a quick comment.
Go ahead.
Not to get too, but Mr. Brown, you do a wonderful job out there. And I know you've put your heart and soul into a lot of things out there, and you've done, it shows the improvements that have been made are good. You're doing a great job, and we recognize that. I'm actually a customer there at least once, if not twice a week.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate what you've done. A lot of times that goes unsaid, but it doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you for what you're doing, and if you'd pass that on to the folks out there too, I'd really appreciate it.
I will, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
Mr. Brown. Any additional questions or comments? All right, with that, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with Wheeler Cat for maintenance service on our transfer station equipment.
All right, we have a motion.
Second?
And a second. I'm going to place a motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Thanks again, Mr. Brown, for that presentation and your service out there. Let's now go to action item H4, consideration for adoption of Resolution 38-2023, providing for a special bond election to be held on November 21, 2023, for the purpose of submitting to the qualified electors of Weber County, Utah, a proposition regarding the issuance of not to exceed $98 million of a general obligation bond and related matters. And we have with us, to make that presentation, our own Sheriff Ryan Arbon. Sheriff, thank you for being with us. The time is yours.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
He's getting his computer up and going.
Sorry.
While we're waiting there, I think that Commissioner Bolos may have some comments just before you get started, Sheriff, if
Mind,
that's
Sheriff?
okay. Go ahead.
You do mind?
Please. Thank you.
We're talking about the jail and the needs there, and so I just wanted to bring to attention to the commissioners and the public a recent accreditation that we received in Weber County. On August 11th, we were officially awarded accreditation with the American Corrections Association. This consisted of 3 years of planning and a year and a half of concentrated work, making sure details in the jail were appropriate, striving toward continuous improvement, which they do over there in Weber County anyway. The American Corrections Association was founded in 1870, and it's the oldest association developed specifically for practitioners in the correctional profession. The standards required for accreditation bring the highest level of safety and security to those we serve, and the standards focus on best correctional practices along with constitutional principles and case law. I just want to give commendation to our corrections team at Weber County over at the jail for their efforts and hard work. This is not an easy accreditation to achieve, so I want to congratulate them, and their efforts in pursuing this bond just go to show their focus on making sure that they're serving their public the best way that they can.
Great, thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, and I'd just say congratulations again to you and your team. That's an accreditation very well deserved. You guys do a fantastic job out there, and we look forward to your presentation. So the time's yours.
Thank you,
Sheriff.
Thank you, Chairman Frohr and Commissioners. Appreciate that mention, Commissioner Bolos. That was a heavy lift, and Chief Reese did a fantastic job. So did Captain Ryan and their team. It was a lot of work, and they deserve a lot of credit, and I appreciate them for that, and I know the public will appreciate it as well. Thank you very much again for the time and attention to this presentation. Shortly after I took office, I spent a lot of time listening to the staff and the concerns from the public, the professionals that we work with, and we started a journey on improvements, continued improvements that we felt were a priority within the Sheriff's Office, particularly in this case, to the correctional facility. And you get to a point is, you know, what is the obligation that we have to the public? And we started a journey on the correctional facility. And what it took us to is Chief Reese and a few of our staff, we took a trip to Dallas, Texas. And coincidentally, at the same time, Commissioner Frohr, you were, I think, in the state of Washington.
Right.
And we learned about the importance of having proper medical and mental health care in jail facilities. And at that time, we were discussing medical care, and this is right shortly after we took the step to do contract medical. And at this time, that's when we had Vital Corps came on board, and it was a great step that we moved for Weber County to provide the proper medical care for our inmates. And it was just something that we did. And then shortly later, we figured these things that we had to make improvements, and what was our shortfalls and our shortcomings that we needed to adjust and improve. And recently, our team took a trip to, probably about a year and a half ago, to Bergen County, New Jersey. And we learned about the reentry teams and what are we doing for our inmates, because a lot of the inmates, when they're released from the facility, they're given just the property that they're handed with, or they left when they came in, and that's what they go with, and sometimes a coin to get on a bus and just go somewhere. But there's nothing for them really to leave with, and so how can we improve and a better quality of life? Why they're in our facility? What can we do more? We have space issues. When COVID hit, the spike in crimes that happened during 2020, the riots, there's a lot of things that occurred, and so we created a presentation that I want to share with you and the public to, how do we get this to share? Does anybody control that? IT? Does anybody here have IT control? I have it here on the screen.
Sharing it again.
It was on there a second ago.
Here we go. There we go. Okay. What I like to share is we have a goal to help teach these individuals that are incarcerated to be self-sufficient, contribute to society in a good way. With our current facility, we are unable to do that to the extent that we have hoped to. The baseline where we start from is in the 12th Street facility. It was built in 2000. It's an 888-bed facility. And at the time, it was built with 6 medical cells. At the time in 2000, it was a population of 196,000. At that time, we did not have an opioid epidemic. At the time, we did not have a mental health crisis that we are facing now. Today, we have almost 270,000 population, which is close to a 35% increase. Today, we're also averaging 12,000 bookings per year. This is a south to north aerial view of our current facility. And we have another facility that some of the individuals in the public do not know that we have. It's the Kiesel Jail, located right behind the Ogden Municipal Building, and it's composed of 2 sections. The linear section was this picture in the right of the picture, which was built in 1983, which consists of 120 beds. To operate that facility, it's very staff intensive. Just to give you an idea, to manage about 30 to 35 inmates per floor, it takes about 5 staff to supervise them. It's very high in maintenance to operate it. It's non-PREA compliant. PREA is Prisoner Rape, the Elimination Act. It's not seismically sound and currently is not in use. The pod section, which is the lower section, actually is a pretty decent condition. We still operate it today. It's not fully functional, but it can be, and it has a potential to be used as a federal contract facility, and it does use less staffing to operate it, and it can operate and hold up to 156 individuals. So back in when we talked about our obligation, we were looking at the constraints we were dealing with for our facility, the growth, the population, the opioid epidemic, and also the mental health and the problems that we were challenged with. We decided to go with a feasibility study to see how an outside group look in and see what the challenges that we were having. And the recommendation that we had with the limited information that was looked upon was to come up with 3 phases that they could build with this. It was to add 2 pods, a medical mental health wing, and at the time we were calling it a new Kiesel or another work release facility. And we have about 21 acres out at our current facility, and the shapes that you see in yellow is what it would look like if they were to be put out on our property. And at the time in November of 2021, the feasibility said that cost to be built would be roughly about $62.5 million. And so during this time, as you know, this is when the COVID challenges came in. This is when we had the crime spikes, and a lot of this was put on hold just because of the challenges that we were facing. As we were moving forward with towards potentially building this, we started to look at the data that came through as a result of the crime spike and the challenges that we were facing. We thought there's something not right about this bill. It just didn't feel right to do. We saw that maybe this medical was not a right fit. And the costs were revised closer to the time and date that we are in now, and the cost jumped substantially. The costs were looking at about $140 million to build what this concept was showing. Chief Reese assembled a fantastic team within the jail and says, there's something that we got to do. This is too much money. It's not going to work. We got to do something else. So he charged a team to go through the data. We looked at the courts, both state and Weber County court information. We looked at our own data. We looked at what the state prison has done. We looked at all kinds of data, and we found out that there's something that we got to do. We got to do something different and not spend so much money, and how can we improve it? And we first looked at the medical and mental health, and so one of the plans that came up is how can we centralize and not spend so much money and use so much property for not just today's growth but future growth. So one of the ideas that came up is that we renovate a portion of the sheriff's office. Most of you that have been to the sheriff's office have seen where my office is, the clerk's office, the detectives, and the patrol, is to renovate that section of our facility and turn that into the medical and mental health, and then add on some wings to that to accommodate a male and female section of medical and mental health, which is pictured in this pictured in the picture above, which would extend to the staff parking lot and also into the public parking lot, which would be north and northeast of our facility. And here's an outline of what that would look like. If you look in the picture, you'd see to the left in the dark blue is our current medical and mental health. You could see there, that's where we had our 6 medical cells at the time, which was only for a population of up to 888 people. Again, before the opioid epidemic that we're facing, and also with the mental health crisis that we're in now. But we're shifting that space over to where we're at now and expand that. And you can see where the infirmary would be, the clinic, and also the housing for those individuals on your right. This would increase our facility by nearly 50 beds. This would also relieve the pressure of our housing in the main facility, where some of these individuals are mixed in, which requires some more supervision, pull them out of the main housing and put them in the housing that's proper for them so they can get the attention that they need. Also, transportation section would be moved. You can see in this picture on the upper left, when our inmates are moved in and out of the facility, they're moved down a long hallway out to the Sally Port. Sometimes these individuals are mixed with those that are coming in and out of the facility from the other agencies where the arrestees are brought in. What this will do will eliminate the possibility of safety and security. It's safer for the staff. It's also safer for the arrestees. We move it to the section where they have their own transportation yard. As you can see in the picture in the upper right, there'll be a designated section where there's a one-way in and a one-way out into the facility, thus having much more safer, and we can keep it cleaner and observe the inmates coming in and out. Also, the section that was picture that was previously shown is in the section in red, which was the medical cells. That will be converted as part of this project of renovation for the video court. Some of the struggles that we have now is transportation. Every time the inmates need to go to court or to another facility, obviously we transport them. We're seeing a trend moving towards more and more video court. We can drop substantially the cost of transportation by increasing a robust video court where they can see the judges on video rather than transporting. Oftentimes, We'll have individuals in other counties that need to be seen by the judges in our county. We'll go pick them up, we'll bring them to court, and a lot of times these individuals will have to see the judge and they're postponed for whatever reason. Then we gotta take them back to the other county. This happens a lot. It'll even happen in Washington County, where it takes 2 of our officers or deputies to go down to the county, sometimes stay the night, bring them up to our county, and then they're postponed. They gotta take them all the way back to Washington County where they're pending other charges in those counties. And then you can see in the other colors coded that there's renovation of a medical triage room, where if an agency brings in someone that goes into a code or some medical situation, there's gonna be a room right off that area so they can get the triage that they need immediately. There's also been a question of what about additional hard construction, meaning pods for, spacing for pods. We do have that in the plan, but that is not a part of the bond. We explained that this will be for strategic planning, built down the road. We want to make sure that the needs are met for future planning, that if this bond is approved and it's voted by in November, that this will be part of the future planning that can be planned down the road and not included in the bond. Here is a picture of what we would plan that would be off the southeast corner of the building. And this is down the road, but want to make it clear this is not a part of the bond, but it is part of the future planning. During this process, one thing that we want the commission, you to know, and also the public, that in all this, we have been down this road for about 3.5 years. We have explored so many options. We've looked at other pieces of property. We have looked at so many different options, and one of the options that we looked at is there's a corner piece at 12th Street and Depot near our facility. And where we're trying to save money for the public on our construction that we're proposing is here in the top corner, you see a facility that would be the administration building, and then the second piece on the south would be the work release center. The problem that we have with this is that even though it looks like there's a lot of property there, the trouble that we ran in here is that there was limited on parking. The architect estimated that, for example, in this diagram here, a parking space costs around $14,000 on the main level. If we were to go vertical, because in this picture here, there's not enough parking for the public, nor there is for staff. To make that right for the parking that we need, we'd have to go vertical. So $14,000 for level parking, but if we were to go to a parking garage or go vertical, now it goes to $40,000. That just is not acceptable for tax dollars. We're not going to spend that. So the decision was to build a vertical building and go 4 stories, with the work release center being on the lower 2 levels, and then the administration of the sheriff would be on the 4th level. So with the design, the purpose, and the construction, we wanted to make sure this building had a justice center image. If you noticed in our proposal that we wanted to call this the Weber Justice Center. We do not want this facility to look like a jail, and I'll explain a little bit about that further. We also want to include allied agencies as a hub and support. We want to make sure that there was a reduce in building costs. For example, to build a hard facility or jail right now is about $700 a square foot. We're looking at this facility because of the savings of renovating our existing facility and not building out. We're going to be down about the $450 range, which is a substantial savings. We found that this building is quite energy efficient compared to the old Kiesel facility. Also, we're going to save space and have future expansion capabilities with this. Also, the cost savings. The Kiesel facility, we're spending about $150,000 in maintenance. We'll be saving that there. Kiesel, as I mentioned earlier, is supervision intensive. It takes a lot to supervise our inmates. With this building, the way it's designed, we can save several $100,000 on reducing staff to do the supervision of our inmates. And one of the questions that we get is how many staff are we going to have to hire to make this, this construction work? And we are not asking for any additional staff in this new build. I want to make sure that's clear.
So
And
these costs would only be one-time costs and not ongoing expenses?
Yes, and that's correct. And also, we are not asking for the county to purchase any additional property either. And the location of this, the Justice Center is, this is an aerial view from Google Earth. As you can see, it's the top left where we've got the label the Justice Center, and then you can see it's right north of the juvenile detention facility, and you can see the current correctional facility on the bottom of the page. And this is the floor plan of the first floor of the Justice Center. This is not obviously an exact layout of what the floor plan is, but it gives you an idea of the square footage that's needed to represent what we're trying to build. You can see the pretrial and the reentry, the square footage needed for that, the lobby, the female release and the release programming and so forth is all on the first floor. Right now, just for information, the pretrial, we manage about 450 pretrial inmates that come in and out. That's quite a load right now. And just another FYI, if the judges decide to get rid of pretrial, most of them will probably have to go back to jail. And we would need that space.
450 every,
They come in, some come in once a week, some come in 3 times a week. It just depends on what the judge orders. This is part of that bond change of the name of the jail, JRI.
JRI.
And, yeah. This is a preview of what it would look like inside the facility. You could see where it's more of a dorm-type setting image in there. It's not cell blocked like you would think a jail would look like. It's more of a minimal security type facility. This is the second floor. You can see where the male release housing would be. And then you can see in the blue where we have an allied agency section. This is the part that we're really excited and looking forward to. This is the part that drove us to do something that we felt is important for the public. This is where we saw a lot of success in a county in Texas and also in Bergen County, New Jersey. We have a challenge here in Weber County. We have a lot of addiction recovery. We have a lot of groups out there that support people that have mental health issues, that have medical issues on all kinds of levels. And the problem is they're scattered. And we're trying to find somebody or some entity that's trying to pull them together. We have a phenomenal caseworker that works for us in Weber County, Laura Andelin. She does such great work. And we have leaders that are with like Weber Human Service, Kevin Eastman and his team. And you know Anna, who is with the Homeless Advocate. They are some great partners. And some of the struggles that we have is their offices and the way they do business is scattered. What we want to do with our justice centers, we want to provide a space to bring them all together to collaborate and work together. We want the programming to start not when they're released, but when the first day they come into our jail. Reentry is a term that is not often truly understood, but regardless if you're in the jail for one day or for several years, when you go in and when you come out, it's reentry. But if we have an opportunity to change someone's life while they're in there, to know where they're at and where they're gonna, when they come out, if we have that chance to give them that fresh start or to get them in the right direction, I think in anybody that's in our community, that's in this culture, if we have that opportunity to touch their life, to get them off in the right direction with what they need, I think we can do it. And that is not going to cost us any money. We're just bringing the resources together to collaborate, to offer them something better. This is why we want to add this space for them to collaborate. Our main goal here with the Justice Center is to reduce recidivism. I want to make it also clear that with this Justice Center, this is not something new. This is something that we're seeing trending across the United States that works. and we have the data to show it. And when we put out the information that we're about to, if this passes today, that we're going to make sure that the residents see how this works. It does work. This is also with this expansion. This is about a 225 bed facility. It's also going to relieve the pressure that's in the 12th Street facility right now. We do have room for people that need to be locked up, and we will have them locked up. This also provides the tools and the resources that our county attorneys have that they need for when they go to court, and the judges have to give them the proper services or whatever programming that they need, and also our public defenders. This is why we feel strongly about this model within this Justice Center, and we want to make sure that this list that you see on the community partners, it's not limited to that list. Any viable partner that wants to participate, they're welcome to come in. Some may work out and some may not, and that's okay. We want to make sure it's fluid, and we want to make sure it's working, and we're serving the community. We don't want people to come back to jail. You know, there's a lot of businesses out there that want business from community. I don't want people coming back and giving me their business in my jail. We don't want anybody back in jail. Third floor is also for the future. We feel that we can save money to the public by doing a core and shell. So if there is ever expansion, that would be the third floor for future growth. The fourth floor would be the Sheriff's Administration with support staff, patrol investigation, emergency management. This is the rendition, the image of the facility that we're looking to build right here. That's it. So just to wrap this up, if we don't do this, we feel that we'll increase the liability not only to the residents and the community, but we feel that lawsuits could increase, thus putting the restraints on our community. The problems that will increase could worsen, and we'll just pass the problem on to the next administration. We want to deal with the problem now rather than get it worse for in the future. We want to make sure that this program is available to anybody who can stand to gain from it. Again, reduce recidivism. What we want to do if this passes, if the bond passes, we will push forward in a proper and timely manner and make every attempt to ensure proper planning, building, and spending are accounted for in this project, and there's complete accountability. What is the benefit to the taxpayer? We believe it'll reduce recidivism, it'll increase public safety, and it will also reduce liability. The bond cost is under $5 per household per month. It's about $50 per year per household on an average valued household at $468,000. I just want to say thanks to Chief Reese, Chief Perry, and Chief Guard for the support. I have probably the best assembled chiefs anyone could ever ask for. The staff are awesome at the Sheriff's Office. And in this bond situation, I want to make sure to give special thanks to the commissioners, John Bond, Scott Park, Stephanie Russell, Chris Crockett, Jason Horn, and Ricky Hatch. Thank you for helping me put this project together for presentation. Thank you. That concludes my presentation.
Great, thank you, Sheriff. Great presentation. Perfect information, opportune time. Commissioner Bolos, this is your portfolio. I'm going to go to you first.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Sheriff, for all the work you put into that. We've had an inside glimpse of this all along the way, so I feel like the commissioners have a thorough understanding of the process you've gone through to come to this point, and I appreciate the thoroughness of your presentation for the benefit of those in the public who haven't seen behind the scenes. So thanks for your work and your concern for moving forward and what we need to do in our community. And really the reduction of recidivism is the whole goal here, and recidivism affects our whole community. And so I appreciate your efforts there in making sure that we're taking care of our residents here in Weber County. So thanks so much for your work and your thorough efforts in presenting this.
Thank you. Commissioner Harvey, questions or comments?
No, you've done a wonderful job with the data. It certainly supports the need. And thank you for being so well prepared.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Sheriff, just a couple of quick questions for you, if you wouldn't mind. So can you give us an idea, percent-wise, about how many inmates that are currently in Weber County Jail have roots or ties to Weber County versus coming from other areas?
I'm going to gracefully turn this over to Chief Reese.
I thought you might.
Yes, I
And,
will
and
happily
while
turn it
Chief
over to
Reese
Chief
is approaching the mic, the other question that I think that's important is the number of inmates currently in that facility that are there because of possible drug abuse, opioid, or mental illness.
Yes.
Because I think that's an important subject that we need to address. Chief Reese, can you answer those two questions?
I will do my best. I don't have the data in front of me, and I appreciate
Just
Commissioner
swag
Harvey.
it, and we're
Yeah,
okay.
I love swagging, and I've learned a good job on swagging. As far as community roots go,
Yeah.
this will be a little bit of a long answer, but I want to give you a thorough answer.
Sure, go ahead.
For a long period of time, we housed contract inmates for both the state and the
Right.
United States Marshal Service. Over the course of the pandemic and into this year, we have reduced that number to only hold marshals that are here on local charges. So of our population of 700 plus inmates today, the vast majority of them come from Weber County directly.
Okay.
To answer your other question regarding mental health and substance use disorders, by and large, every single individual that comes through our facility has touched some component of that, whether it's mental illness, a family member with mental illness, their own use of substance use, a family member's use of that. So while I don't have the hard numbers to give you a percentage, which I don't like, definitely both of those are large portions.
Sure. So it'd be fair to say that a majority, by far, come with some type of mental health, drug issues, et cetera.
Absolutely.
Majority. I think that's the reason I ask those questions. I think there is some public out there that looks at the jail as being this group of people that come from other areas. They're not part of a community. I think it's important to realize that what we're doing here, by your request, is really taking care of our community first, not other communities, not other counties, not other states. That this is a Weber County issue that's up to leadership, your sheriff's department, to resolve. And we know we haven't really addressed this for up to 20 years. Recently, I was in a NACO national conference in Austin, had the opportunity to talk to 3 sheriffs across this country, one from Texas that had, I think, the first or second largest inmate population of about 10 to 12,000 people. They varied from that down to about 1,000 to 2,000. But all of them had similar comments when I talked to them about, okay, where are we headed with incarceration? Where are we headed with correctional institutions in this country? Every one of them said, until you deal with mental health, until you deal with opioid and drug abuse, all you're going to do is have a rotating door where they're going to go out one day and come back the next. So I think that's the message that we need to get out, that we're not the Weber County that we were 20 or 25 years ago. We have to realize that these are our people, and if we want them in the community being productive, holding jobs, we have to give them the resources to be successful. That's what I like about this program, bringing in the nonprofits that have the ability to deal with this, not from the day one when you put them out with a bus pass and they stayed in there a year, 2 years, or 5 years. You say, here's your bus pass, go find out. They have no options at that point in time other than to fail and to come back. We have to change that model. I think this gives us the ability in Weber County to change that model, change where we are. And if we don't change it now, I think we've missed an opportunity to really help the entire county and help our population and help a population that's, in my opinion, has been ignored for a period of time. And I know that I sat on a number of discussions when they talked about this same situation with the new prison. Same scenario, same issues, just on a larger scale. So I applaud you, Chief, Sheriff, your team. This has not been a short time we've looked at this. Prior to this, last year I was with the Sheriff's Department, working with them, with the Sheriff for the last 4 years. We started off with the medical issue, realizing that we had to make some changes now. For the good news, Commissioner Bolos is working in that environment and brings a fresh look at it. But I appreciate what you've done. I appreciate, again, the heavy lift. Now it's going to be up to the voters to make the decision and look at the information, look at the facts, and then make their decisions based upon the facts that they see. But I'd hope that they would take the time to investigate really what this is about and the benefits to the community or the harm to community if we continue to operate the same way we've operated in the past. So that's my comments. Any comments from you, Chief Reese?
No, thank you, Chairman.
Okay.
You summarized
Sheriff?
that extremely well.
Anything else? With that,
Ready
sorry
a
for that long diatribe, but I thought it was important that we.
I appreciate it.
there'd be
Covered some
said.
great points.
Okay, with that, Commissioners, I'd entertain a motion, and Commissioner Bowles, I'm going to go to you on the resolution 38-2023.
Okay, happy to make a motion to adopt resolution 38-2023 as presented by the sheriff and
We have a motion,
Second.
and we have a second. That's a roll call vote. Craig?
Roll call vote for Resolution 38-2023. Commissioner Bolos?
Aye.
Commissioner Harvey?
Aye.
Sheriff Rohr?
Aye. Motion carries. Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you.
You're on your way. Best of luck. All right, Commissioners, that brings us to our best item of the day, which is Commissioner comments. I know that there's never a lack for comments from certain people.
Are you looking at me?
Go ahead.
I will give
No.
one comment, and that is, Mr. Chair, to thank you for letting the sheriff's office be in my portfolio.
Yeah.
I enjoy working with them, and you can see why they're great people.
No, and that's something you've done a fantastic job with. I appreciate your taking that on. And I'd say this, it's a great group of people to work
They are.
with.
They are.
So, Commissioner Harvey.
No, I appreciate that. It's been good. This is, the sheriff knows this, and I think with what we've approved just recently with this, specific bond election, hopefully we just will get the people educated so they can see the need as we've seen them and as we represent them.
I think that's the key, is just education, and I want to recognize a good friend, Laura Warburton, in the back, and I think she'll help. She understands these issues very well, and if we start relying on people like her to educate the people, I think this will be a good outcome for everyone. All right, with that, additional comments? Questions? If not, a final motion, Commissioners.
Move to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much.